Start a recording.
I'm so nervous. How are you?
I'm well. I'm
Doing well.
How are you?
Doing well, Andrew. I think our last shoot, when was it? Maybe May, I want to say last year. That's the last time I've seen you.
That was after the beach.
Yeah,
the
after
secret location.
Project Black Beach Undercover.
Yeah,
all of
that's that. You even remembered the name.
Yeah, I'm loyal. That project still means so much to me, and working with you and collaborating with Jordan over the last year, especially as two photographers I hold very close to my heart. It's been, I hold sentiment to each of my shoots I do.
No. But then we did a boudoir thing here as well, which was pretty sweet.
Yes, we did.
And so we have a model, Erica.
Hello. I've never done any of this sort of thing. I don't even think I've done anything where I've been hooked up to a microphone and then hearing myself at the same time. That's the main thing getting used to is like I'm hearing my thoughts and presenting them at once.
It's a new venture. I decided at the end of last year that I was going to do something new, and I started doing the interview thing, and then that just progressed into this.
How are you finding it? Your journey and then our podcasting regularly?
It's real interesting because I'm learning new skills, and I'm obviously meeting lots of people, kind of having longer conversations and really diving deeper into kind of like what makes them tick, and kind of like learning about their backgrounds and any type of advice and stuff like that. And then sometimes this happens where they ask me questions and I have to answer.
We'll want to keep it like still a conversation.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
I hate talking about myself.
100%.
Well, I talk all the time, but when it comes to talking about like myself and my experiences and feelings, I'm like, ooh, like I will talk about it, but I'm just freaking out the whole time and like more self-conscious. So
you don't need to be self-conscious. It's just a conversation between me and you.
We're good to go then.
Yeah. So like learning new information, meeting new people.
Yeah.
Like I've had a music producer, I've had a radio DJ on.
Beautiful. I had a brief look last night. Didn't have a chance to go through each one, but I watched a little bit of each interview to see, and everyone's so different as well. And it's cool to hear their own
Everyone
experiences.
Is so different. And I was telling someone on the weekend on one of the podcasts that like this is just me kind of moving the spotlight off my work and more onto you guys, because I think you guys need a lot more of the spotlight because you guys are so fantastic in, either modeling or photography or other creative stuff. And I think there's not enough of that in Australia.
It's definitely only more recent where here people have wanted to get more into the, like, I guess more vulnerable stuff, and also exploring or getting to know models more as like their character and not just like, because a picture can explain so much, but it's cool to learn about people's character too. Exactly.
And I think, and that's also another great bit of feedback that I was getting with my interviews, like after a shoot, like I had someone over in Perth who had never met before, and they were like, "Oh my God, thank you so much for doing these interviews, because we get to hear from the people behind the photo."
Yes,
or like, in the photo.
Absolutely.
I was like, you're welcome, like it's why I'm doing it. And then she was like, no, seriously, like these people are all just everyday normal people. And I'm like, exactly. That's exactly the point.
Yeah.
Like you see a glossy image, you think to yourself, oh my God, I could never be like that. But really, they're just everyday normal people anyway.
Yeah.
So everyday normal people taking the initiative to do something different, or look a particular way, or dress a particular way, or put makeup on, or, exercise or whatever. Like anybody can do it.
Literally.
Yeah.
I think the community of models, well, especially in Australia, would appreciate what you're doing, because all of those things you just listed, it's something that, if we can show more of and we want to like express that, it should be received and admired and appreciated.
Exactly.
So yes, I'd say on behalf, we appreciate what you're doing too.
I just get you bring the microphone a little bit
you're
closer.
all good.
Yeah, like here. You know, to close it down, like closer to your body.
Oh, I'm going the opposite of what you're saying.
Go that way. Go that way. Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah, there. So tell me, how did you get into modeling?
Well, I was maybe 15. I was
So 20 years ago. No.
I can't even do math.
I was being facetious. You don't need to answer that question.
That's okay.
So when you were 15.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago. Yeah, so I would consider myself, I don't really consider myself like a model, but I guess I do modeling and I would say I'm more recent to it, at least in comparison to a lot of people I know who model in Melbourne who've been doing it for ages.
Yeah.
I'm 20 now. I was 15. My uncle was a hairdresser. I keep trying to track. He's been living in Queensland, Melbourne, sometimes Adelaide. He's regularly moved state for work. But while he was living down here in Melbourne, he was applying for haircut and colour competitions.
Yeah.
And I've always had very thick curly hair, but there was something he wanted to experiment like colouring with. So I'd help him with those contests. And back then I think I did 2 of those with him. But when I had like those drastic hair changes, I only had a shoot. Is the microphone okay, by the way?
Yep.
Cool. I had, a few shoots over that year, and then he helped me make a portfolio. But I would just model for like when it was to help with a hair coloring contest, or if I just wanted a portfolio. I'd always been, back then I was still interested in modeling, but I was still in school, at the time I was studying dance. I was wanting to be a ballerina at the time. Yeah, so that was more my thing than modeling. So kind of I would shoot like once a year maybe up until 2022. So I was working full time then as a receptionist, but I knew that I wanted to pursue modeling like in my career. And obviously it's risky thinking about, because modeling's, thankfully these days it's more patient and it's less like restrictive with age, but everyone's sort of trying to hurry up and model before, your time and yada yada. So, but I still had to earn enough to then leave my full-time job so I could have like a stable income while, trying to pursue modeling, because it's a whole new thing. I had portfolio but not contacts at the time or anything, starting anew. So I did for a beautiful photographer, Seyhan. She works at Photograph HQ. Carrum Downs, I believe that studio's in. I won a free photo shoot to do with them. And got a ballet portfolio sort of for myself. But she noticed when she photographed me for that like free shoot I won, she said, actually, I see something in you. Would you like to model for my jewelry collection releasing in the next month? So her side business, she also creates beautiful jewelry.
Yeah.
So I modeled for her, went on the website for then, got a bit recognized, so got more exposure. And then that had me on a good enough foot to then quit my job and like kind of start pursuing this. Still very risky, but I was like, I felt kind of, that's when I had the confidence to I'm like, this could be something possibly.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot has to be said about, I mean, you've mentioned a couple of times it being a bit risky, but like you got to take risks.
Because you will never start if you don't. Like you have to do it at some point.
You got to take the initiative, and like, it was so good for you to just like acknowledge that, the reception staff, whilst, business and being corporate is a particular career path as well. Like, but making that decision like earlier that you want to do something different, and then just working at it. And
it was also, and COVID as well at the time. Like I sound so young when I talk, but I was only, I graduated 2020, and then I'd say I've only done the modeling, like this whole, when I quit work, I think it's now been a year of doing this like full-time-ish or my like main thing. So I'm either modeled or unemployed depending on the week or the day, depending on what gigs I get.
So what type of dance were you doing?
Ballet. I was doing classical ballet.
Classical ballet.
My parents never allowed me to try another style up until like I was much later in my teens, because they really were like, oh, you want to be ballet? Like try to, be like focused on that, because it's a very disciplined kind of dance style compared to other ones. And I appreciate all styles of dance. So do my parents too. But
Larry, what are you doing, buddy?
Hey, Larry.
He's like,
you want some screen time?
What are you mofos doing?
I love. What was I saying? Dance.
Dance, yeah. So your parents wanted to, they were trying to like get you to focus in on one particular discipline.
Yeah, because they saw my passion in ballet and thought, well, like, why not expand on that and like devote most of your time that you have like for dance to that? And at the start, I was like, oh, but I think thankfully with that ballet that I pushed through with those studies, like that's where I've got a lot of my learning of discipline from and everything, which I do apply to modeling. So though I didn't end up going through with the dream, I definitely would say thanks to them and following that advice, it helped me just feel more equipped for what I do now.
Do you think the whole discipline thing comes from like your childhood, like growing up with your parents? Like, do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a older brother, a younger sister. My brother and I are 2 years apart. My sister and I are 7 years apart.
So you're middle child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to middle child syndrome.
Always in the middle. You always.
We got all the good things and all the bad things at the same time.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you feel this way, but the most attention, but that's so vulnerable because it's either really like positive at the time or really just terrible at once. Attention crashing at once or every action you do.
I hear.
Always on watch.
And so, what's your background again?
I am half Iranian, or Persian. I'd prefer to say Persian.
Persian.
Before the revolution. And half Filipino.
That's right.
And that also is where
your mum Filipino?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is also, it gives a brief kind of reference to where like the strict kind of disciplinary.
Yeah.
I would
Asian
say.
parents are strict.
Yeah. But bless them, like they mean so well. And
they do.
They support you through every step of the way. So I'd say I grew up in a quite protective household, and for that also, like I would say even like my social life outside of high school, like I was never allowed to sleep over anything, or like no parties. I think I went to maybe 2 parties in total by the end of school.
That's got to be hard.
Yeah. Definitely like pros and cons, but in every like, parenting style is different.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, no matter what, I'm without my parents. Like I couldn't even do this. Like they helped me while I was living at home still, trying to pursue what I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, having all said that, when I quit work and then started modeling at the same time, also started like having more of a social life at the same time, entering my first, I guess, serious relationship and new friends. And just, I feel like the social life and the modeling life also started kind of all at once. And then that has slowed me down. But it's just been such an overwhelming last year, I must say. But yeah.
But you've been like killing it with like some photo shoots.
Thank you.
Holy moly.
Thank you.
You recently did a rain, like a water shoot.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was in a studio, right?
It was in a studio. I think the studio was also used for automotive. It was an automotive studio, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, big enough, and they had. So yeah, I was under basically 3 shower heads, I believe, and then the water clashed down. Reminded me about beach shoot actually when it was raining.
Yeah.
But I guess different sort of like the water. It's just direct pressure of water on you.
Yeah.
And then shooting. So I was freezing and it was like, it woke me up there.
They didn't even heat the water up?
No, well, but they're very kind. They like took breaks in between. So like we kind of like have the water directly like hitting and running for a bit of time and then stop, take a break while my hair's still wet. Like do the hair flips and all this stuff.
Gotcha.
But that was a fun experience. Very different.
Do you find that the stuff that you learned through dance and ballet has just transferred over to like being creative and like in modeling as well?
I'd say I've lost like half my dance ability, unfortunately. Like I'm not as flexible, but I do, I guess, still like apply the like I'm always like trying to correct myself and improve. But what I think dancing helped me for with modeling is kind of the suck it up aspect, or a lot of the like the moments where you want to complain because you're not happy with the weather or like how your outfit's looking or like you're on a time frame, you're running late, but the whole kind of just get it together because it's for show. Like it's for, you have
Gotcha.
sort of I guess like the discipline I mentioned, it's helped me have a better headstrong mindset to modeling.
Yeah.
Like make me like less baby, or tell myself like don't be a baby about it, I guess.
Yeah. Or
that mindset with ballet I had, like just stop being a baby, like you just have to do it, and then that transferred over to modeling.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be, and I can understand, like there's like self-doubt, and then there's like criticism, and you're like, oh, I'm not happy with this, I'm not happy with that. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we see a lot of these glossy images and glossy stuff on social media, or like with product stuff, they're always like perfect, you know?
Yeah.
And so then we have this idea that we want it to be perfect when it's us,
Mm.
when really, like, if you can be real, that has more of a cut through, I think.
Yeah.
And being real means that like your hair's not perfect, or, you know, like stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
But I like that piece around the just get it done like attitude.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, well, no one's going to fix your mood for you no matter how much advice or like at the time consolation you're given, you just like have to. But
we've 15 minutes in, we're going real deep.
we really are. But is it too much? Should we take it back a bit? Should we dive deeper?
Let's go deep. Let's go deep.
Well, what I was going to mention, what you just brought up about the like keeping it real, I think it's really good. I've just noticed in the last year, well, I think even since COVID started is when I saw it, especially on, I think that's when TikTok was also blowing up a bit more. But the whole, I know Reels have their like, you either love them or hate them, but the Reels lately or in the last year I've seen where people will show like completely unfiltered skin or show like behind the scenes of a model shoot and then like show it before, like they'll actually post the pre-edit. I've seen some models like post the pre-edited photo before the final one to show like, and then they'll have a caption explaining, you know, their story first, but also like how hard it was to do. And I have so much respect for people who, because that's a vulnerable thing to do, a really scary thing to do.
Oh yeah.
Like post, or even as a photographer, like want to post something before you've added, you know, like made sure the lighting and the coloring's okay, or just show something that's not your finished work, but just to show that like behind this image, there's so much behind it that can be added and shifted and changed. But you know, it's nice to see someone completely vulnerable and just everything very raw, organic.
100%. And I have been seeing a lot of those reels as well, and a lot of that footage, and I think it's great that you start to see like really big celebrities kind of like not wearing makeup, like Pamela Anderson going to
Slay.
you know, events like not wearing makeup and you know, and stuff like that, and then the whole piece around the behind the scenes stuff. It is good that like people do realize that it does take a lot of work to kind of like come up with the final product. Like it's not
And that's like not to depreciate the final product either, because then I think since this happened, there's also now been a war of like, well, are you bad for photoshopping because it sets a wrong example for other models, other people looking up to you?
What does that mean? Are you bad for photoshopping?
Well, sorry, no, what am I saying? Well, no, yes, actually, yeah. Well, yeah, it's because I think people should be allowed to have a like perfect image and have like if for an artistic perspective.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
You might with this podcast, I'd take a while to like for people to realize what I'm trying to articulate. So I might be trying to re-explain myself a bit.
That's all right.
Cheers. But yeah, like there's nothing wrong with having like a pristine touched up final image and all of that.
Yeah.
I think what it shouldn't be is like it has to be this way or that way, but saying it should, both ways of art should be, or both ways of modeling, like photography, everything, whether it's more touched up, more goes into the post-production process, or something's more organic and more raw. I think both those should be, none should be on a pedestal higher than the other. They should both be allowed to exist.
Yes, they should both be allowed to exist. And if anything, to your point, like not one is more valuable than the other.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it goes through
or
waves.
Should be respected more than the other.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I think we've had like perfect imagery for a long time, and now it's more of that that real imagery.
Yeah.
That's kind of coming through, and I've mentioned it a couple of times on the podcast, and with like other people and other friends, like the cringeworthy stuff is almost kind of like there's a huge wave of cringeworthy stuff that's coming through that like which is almost like taking on more of that like comedy, that funny aspect because I think when you add comedy to something or you make it fun, it's more relatable.
Yeah.
You know, like,
And it, I guess, makes people feel better about, because they might have that same issue you've just like made a joke about, but it's kind of like if you can laugh at yourself for sure, like we're all of us are suffering, we're all going through shit, and we're all very self-conscious and very like judgmental of ourselves and always worrying right before we're seen if we're an artist or a creative or anything. So, like you said, relatability is very good to
which is why I started doing, which is why
Yes.
I continue doing the interviews.
Yeah.
And the reason I continued doing the interviews was because I actually didn't like doing them. Because I
get that.
Because I had to edit them like afterwards, and I would just be like, I'd be self-critical of myself. But then my mindset is, if I don't like what I'm looking, even though it's myself, that's something I need to work on.
Yeah.
And that's something I need to be more comfortable with, is looking at myself and looking at, watching my behavior and working out whether or not I can do something better or something worse, or, but then also like kind of, like taking it with a grain of salt, like it's okay if my hair was out of place when I was doing the interview, or like my shirt was only half tucked in, or something like that.
On that point, I'd say the biggest like muscle in this aspect is resilience in knowing you are going to feel this way again in future. Like you are still going to criticize yourself. Like this is a natural thing. I think accepting that is a big thing too. Like accepting this isn't the last time I'm going to like hate this and like be frustrated, but then want to fix. Like this is going to happen, but how do I then look at this, reflect, and then try, like, if I don't appreciate it now, appreciate myself a little bit more this time, more next time, and then eventually I'll be less self-critical as I go, but just understand it's a process and it's something that's always evolving.
I love what you said then about it being a muscle, because it
does like
being comfortable with yourself and being okay with how things are is definitely a muscle.
Yeah. Because it's not something you ever at any like point in your timeline like can stop or will need to stop doing. Like there'll never be a point where you'll feel so perfect for the rest of your life and you're like, suddenly I don't need to be this resilient because I feel so confident. Like no one realistically can go on their entire life and not need to have resilience, not need to have, strategies to cope if you do have tough things bring down on you. So
and it's okay to feel like that as well, right? Like at the end of the day, as you said, we all go through stuff. We've all got stuff going on.
We do.
And
it's tough out here.
We just need to take a fucking chill pill with life and
with it all.
See that being an artist or a creative or a model or a photographer or a dancer or whatever is an outlet for us to kind of express ourselves.
Yeah.
And be proud of like what we create, and Yeah. Yeah.
And it's such like art's such an expansive and different thing, and it's such an unboxed thing that has so much like fluidity and like freedom to it.
Art and fashion.
Oh, we love fashion.
Yes, I can tell. Tell us about this little number that you are wearing today.
Oh, you appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I've been, I believe, how much of this is not firsthand? Gotten into the op shopping, because I've become more broke over the last year. And when I was working for, oh my gosh, and I took
looking for those sugar daddies, $7,000 a week for only conversation. Send them her way.
I got my man; he take care of me. It's all good.
Oh, okay. Cancel that.
Okay. But he's supportive of my modeling and everything I do. So he's an actor too, so I have to accept the fact if he has to like make out with someone as well for a job, it's acting too, and modeling's getting naked, getting sexy. So
that's a whole nother level, isn't it?
Well, like that's like a very dramatic, expansion. But yeah, my partner and I, we both do. Well, we're both in the creative industry, so we are exposed to a lot more. I guess out of there things can be put on us for a job, for art, for film, for content. So,
yeah.
But no, we're very.
How did you guys meet?
My first acting gig.
Hang on, you do acting as well? Oh, no, you don't. But you did one.
I did a gig, and then I'm actually with an I am with an extras agency, but I like
Real People Victoria?
no, it's Howl Management.
Oh.
However, I haven't done enough with them because when I was trying to like have more of a balance financially, I ended up having a part-time job for the second half of last year, and then because of the schedule of that, I couldn't. It was more. It ended up being more part-time than casual with more set hours, so I
Gotcha.
wasn't as available.
Yeah. Makes it hard. I did some extra work.
Did you?
Yeah.
Ooh.
This was
How recent? What for?
No, this was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
God, this is probably like 7-8 years ago now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it can still
Maybe.
feel recent years.
8 years. Yeah, sorry, 8
time
years.
is-
Yeah. So I was in like Neighbours.
Oh my gosh.
I'm still on the Oliver Hume website.
Can you the links in the description?
Ah! I don't know what episode it was on Neighbours, but anyway, it was so funny because they got me in the scene. I think the setting is like the watering hole, like the bar cafe, and they had me at the back, like drinking a beer.
I need to watch this.
Bro, it's the worst. That's the worst scene to have me in because I don't drink.
You don't drink.
Well,
That's right.
I don't drink often because I go red. I get the Asian flush.
I would say I'm pretty much in the same boat.
Yeah.
Like I like to drink, but I also don't do it as much because I just.
And then I'm pretty
I'm a
sure
pussy.
I'm on the training collateral at seek.com.
Are you? Everywhere you're just plugs, drops everywhere.
Well, you may not notice me because I had short hair back then. I ain't got short hair anymore.
But it was still you. It was still your face. You were still out there.
Yeah. It was a bit of fun, like, but then the whole scheduling thing kind of like it got really hard. So I was like, I'll just like give this a roast.
That's the thing because you have to keep yourself like available as much as you can because at any point in so the turnaround or how quick before you do it, the notice you'll get of it.
Yeah.
And making sure you're prepared. So I understand that.
I think it is interesting that it's an interesting industry because they're always looking for extras, and then it's up to you on whether or not you want to take it any further in terms of like acting or like whatever kind of like creative industry. And I think like I did a couple of auditions for extra stuff. And then because my name got registered on a couple of agencies, they still contact me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like still to this day?
Still to this day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
have you said yes to anything since? Or no time, no, don't care enough anymore?
Nah, don't care enough anymore. I don't really
Not good
have
enough
time.
job. They're lamer jobs coming out.
No, one of them was for a brand that is well known for sticking on back of like posters and stuff to kind of like put on walls. You know, that kind of
like blue tack? Were you missing the word?
I didn't want. No, I wasn't missing the words. I was deliberately trying not to say the name of the brand.
Oh, is this like a?
No. But it was like to be the face of it for an international.
Oh my god!
campaign.
Wait, was that like confidential and like now like we have to restart the whole thing?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
Nah,
no NDA contract.
I can just bleep it out. I'll just bleep that one out. First time I'll have to bleep something out.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
That means you're an important person though. You have like now I have to sign NDA disclosure and everything.
No. But yeah, it was So that type of stuff's kind of like
big
still
company.
happening. Slight little bit of technical issues. See, that's another.
Was it a viewfinder thing or off? It was off.
Nah, it just turned itself off.
Ah.
Yeah, so it's a good thing that you noticed.
Did you also just turn the microphone off for a second just then and turn it back on?
Nope.
For like dramatic effect, that literally just happened.
Do you want?
Oh, I'm scared. Oh my God.
Or I can change my voice like this.
Can I as well? No, you can.
No, it's only me.
So the rest of the interview, Darth Vader's interviewing me.
I've got your daughter. $5 million by the end of tonight.
It'd be cool if you could change my voice too to have like a really like chipmunk, like high pitch right
I
now.
know,
Like,
right? Shit.
Okay, that's enough.
were there other options, or is that the only crazy one?
Nah, there's other options. I should probably read up how I can change like your voice as well, but like, I'm sure there's a video, a YouTube.
That's a start though. I'm impressed. Like you were lively speaking as Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Vader.
It's all just a learning process. I'm very much on the frame of mind of if I need to know how to do something, then I'll go and work out how to do it. But if I don't need to know, then I kind of don't do it.
Yeah.
It's like my brain is so full of information. Like if I don't need to know, then I won't like teach myself how to do something.
Yeah.
Whereas if I think I need to know it for like whatever, like for example, you know, setting up the cameras technically, the lighting, blah, 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 how to work this thing just so that it works for me like in post, then I'll learn how to do that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like...
Because it's, well, yeah, it's a motivator to continue that like learning
Yeah.
process too. It's like, well, there is an end goal. There's an end result. So...
Exactly. So tell me about one of the best shoots that you've been on.
The ones we've did are definitely in that list.
Oh, stop it.
No.
Stop it.
That I think like I've never got like how do I say it? Like how many followers you have in the space of time, I guess.
Yeah.
Like overnight I had a lot more followers. Like after posting anything I posted with us, like within a very short time compared to other shoots. Like I think exposure wise you definitely got, like you helped me a lot with that.
Yeah.
But no, favorite shoots are any ones I've done outdoors or in nature or just with the earth and like barefoot and it's all grotty and like gross, but you just feel so like immersed in it.
You're an outdoors girl.
I'm an outdoors girl. I will be the first to like whine and bitch and complain about it. Like I'll be like, but end of the day I'm like, or when I see the result, I'm like, this is why I did what I did. Sorry, I shouldn't have cursed, but.
No, it's fine. Right, so outdoors. So you really love the outdoors, even in winter?
Yeah. I will still be. It's like leading up to the shoot, I'm like, yeah, no doubts, no worries. But but like as soon as I'm in the moment, I'm outdoors. I'm like, this is why I should have been dreading it or mentally preparing. Because like in the moment, it's so much. Why did I agree to this? Or I'll be really grumpy, like but in a way, like when I'm so grumpy, like in that state, I'm like, no, because like it'll be at the time the photographer's shooting me. I'm like, I chose to do this. The shot, if I want to make it fucking good or make it worth it, then I just have to, like what we brought up before as well, just like get it together, just do it, and then you'll be really happy later.
And any worst shoots? Thankfully, no.
I want to say not yet because you never know, but thankfully, I've had a few, or maybe like moments where I was like sus during a shoot or like suspicious or didn't feel the. I haven't had some, like there are some shoots that haven't been so great, but I don't think I've had. I'm thankful to say, among other models, I'm very thankful I haven't had a terrible photo shoot experience.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm grateful to say that because unfortunately a lot of models can't say that, or that there are some really bad people in what we do, and there's also really good people like yourself and other photographers who I value so highly. But there are definitely more people. I don't know if it helps maybe having kids as well of your own, or I don't know. I guess some photographers will, and knowing my position too, knowing I'm more new to this and I haven't done as much, they'll take that knowledge and be more protective and be like, and also more regularly ask, like, are you comfortable? Like, they'll remind me to let them know if I'm uncomfortable or if I need that. And then some people will hear that, and then knowing I'm new, they'll like have have that same kind of persona at the start, but then as we go further through on the shoot, they'll just be like, oh, that, like, you know, you did great at that, and but then I would feel less comfortable. It was almost like, how do I articulate this perfectly? They would take that and not take advantage of it, but kind of make it so that I could eventually do more that I was uncomfortable with because I was new and because they were like, oh, but like we appreciate what you do, or like, you know, it's your body's beautiful, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like appreciate, like showed me like I was more appreciated to show more of myself, but I felt like it wasn't, I was still just taking off more layers rather throughout the shoots.
Yeah.
Rather, it's tricky.
So just in terms of like making you feel comfortable so that you kind of like be more entrenched in like the theme of what they're trying to achieve, or
it's hard. I don't know how to say this without making it sound like what I'm trying to say, but I guess almost like grooming kind of behaviors.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, that's why I'm just saying that now. Like, I'm thankful I haven't had anything like terrible happen, but that like I only just got that energy, but so many models have like got the energy and then had really bad things happen to them. I guess I could say I've just been scared for myself before on a shoot that if it was going to escalate to like, or I would feel like, am I going to feel less like confident saying no, or like it's going to be kind of weaned or like negotiated? Or
I think you definitely have to. Be confident in your own mind and knowing where your boundaries are in what you want to do.
That was the word I was looking for.
What you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So then if someone asks you, oh, do you want to do this? You be clear if that's like over your boundary or within, you know, what
it's
you want to do.
It's just hard saying no.
Well, I know. Sometimes it's hard. Because creatively, you're like, oh, that would be really good, or like I wonder what that would look like. But then you enter the realm of like safety, and like making sure that you're safe.
I think it's because maybe like with what we do, like as creatives, you're always working with different people, so it's a lot of you're never getting used to the same people. Maybe like aside from like your very direct creative team, but in terms of like your day-to-day collaboration work, like you're always developing trust, having the trust, and then like going on with one job to like, you know, it's a whole thing, like meeting new people on the day and then like performing at your best in maybe a very like vulnerable position again, or position where you're more naked, or like also I've just met you technically. It might have taken like months of knowing like your partner to then like even get naked with it. Like just a dramatic example, but put that in perspective. Like
I think it's an interesting.
I don't know. I feel like that perspective isn't as.
I think
it is at least.
Yeah, the piece around in your mind being comfortable with being vulnerable with someone that you've just met versus, you know, your partner.
Yeah, like when I bring that up, like when I'm bring that up, I'm touching on. I literally stuttered so much so far.
She makes noises as well.
Really?
Hey, you could be a voice actor. Bleh, bleh.
I'm Peppa Pig. What voice is what voice? What was my
just
dream
bring
voice?
that microphone closer.
Sorry, I've been like gradually sinking into the couch more and more. So, it's that bad. Okay. Okay.
Like there.
I must not pay enough attention when I watch podcasts because I'm just not very self-aware at the moment. And we're talking about being self-aware and everything.
That's all right. I mean, you know, like, whatevs.
It's what it is. We're chilling. You get many ranges of my voice today.
You
Highs
just
and
pull
lows.
it up a little bit now as well. Up. Yeah, look, there. Perfect. Boom.
Cool.
Now I can see your face. Oh, just relax now. Like,
that wasn't so hard.
yeah, you'd be a voice actor. Imagine being a voice actor.
Well, I'm just thinking, what roles would I want to play? Or like what? Because like that's a cool. I haven't even thought of that. Well, I have, but I mean, never that deeply enough.
Yeah,
but voice acting is.
You know, there's like animations. There's like TV commercials. You know.
I think I'm just thinking the cool aspect of that is the faceless aspect, or like, because you're kind of in a way you're like undercover until like you're revealed, or like if you choose to show your face on socials or then go to an event.
It's a whole industry in itself.
Yeah,
like the whole faceless thing. There's this one account on Instagram that keeps popping up, and they're like, it's a faceless account, but now they've started like posting videos of like, and I don't know if it's real, but like how much money they're making just from a faceless account. And like you need to start making content as a faceless account, like because the opportunities are there. Like you don't need a face, basically. I think it's where people will struggle with doing something like that is coming up creatively on like, okay, well, what do I need to do? Like, how do I need to do it?
Yeah.
You know, I think it was, a podcast on the weekend we spoke about ever having like a creative block, you know, and like how do you work through that creative block phase that you would go through?
It's so debilitating, like career-wise, and also because like it is your career in creative, like if it's like losing your creativity for losing your passion for a day, it's like, oh no, like now like I don't have anything to show for myself, sell for myself. Yeah. But it's a big block. It can be really, it's a big thing. Yeah. It's a really big thing.
My trick to it is just keep doing what you're doing and slowly start introducing like other aspects. And then merge aspects together.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
And then it makes it less overwhelming, like, because it's, like, you know, it's a step by step that way.
Yeah.
Or you kind of give yourself more gap in between.
Yeah, look, you can give yourself a gap in between, but I think
not gap. I meant like break down the steps. So like you don't see it as like a big task, but it's like a So yeah, not as an be lazy in between and like just let yourself.
100%, definitely. Like being able to work out the formula or the steps to kind of like get things done.
Yeah.
But I think like for me, like I did slow down last year because I got a bit sick, and then I felt like I was hitting like a bit of a creative block when I started to feel better because I was like, I don't really know what to do, or like I wasn't motivated enough. And then and then I started the interviewing, and then I started this podcast, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like I just need to like consistently keep pushing myself to learn. And that feeling of learning, I think, is what drives me to kind of go, oh yeah, like this is what I love. Like I kind of love looking at things differently and trying lots of different stuff.
Yeah. And I guess it keeps things fresh too, or it's like not out with old, in with the new, but in a way like if you're learning, it's something that you're not used to or not familiar with before. So it adds like, you know, something different, something interesting about it.
And who would have thought that I'd be, you know, we're in February now, and this is podcast 21.
And that's on that. That's cool. I'm turning 21 this year, actually. That matches up. Hey!
That's good. But yeah, and then I've kicked off doing car shoots again.
So, yes, back into those.
So I'm doing some car shoots, reaching out with like other businesses to kind of do some stuff for them, and I think it's interesting. Like, you know, you start photography and you focus in on one genre or one niche, and then you're like, oh, like I can do that now, but like for me, I keep going. What more can I do?
Yeah.
Like, what more can I do? You know, like I've spoken to a few photographers who don't do video, for example, and I'm like, you guys, you need to do video.
As in they only shoot stills? Okay.
And their main thing is that they're scared. They're scared to do video. And I'm like, it's exactly the same. It's just the difference between English and Chinese. You're like saying the same thing, but they're just using different words. And like it's a different approach.
Oh, yeah.
But you can learn it because it's exactly the same. I'm telling you, it's exactly the same.
Until you start learning it, will always like be seen as more like tough or overbearing than what it is. I understand that for sure.
And I think that fear factor like if you don't do something about it, the fear will grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and then
Yeah, and then you'll
you
just
know.
break down.
Yeah, and then it just takes over, and then you never end up doing it.
Mm.
There was this quote that I heard a couple of days ago about bravery,
Yeah.
and like if you don't have bravery, if you don't have bravery, then fake bravery, because in the time where you need to be brave and you faked bravery, guess what? You actually were brave.
Yeah.
And so the act of doing something when you don't, well, not necessarily that you don't want to do it, because you do want to do it, you're just fearful of doing it.
Yeah.
The act of doing it gives you more confidence.
Yeah. That's actually, it's nice to hear you say that, because I've always like seen that when I do it as like just doing it scared, if I end up like faking bravery, but like calling it bravery still, like as opposed to like doing something scared, is that's empowering. Actually, that's really cool.
Yeah,
That's something we should tell ourselves more.
It's such a different take on the whole like being scared and being fearful.
Yeah.
You're like, well, no, you're actually being brave, because
Yeah,
you're faking.
because
Even though you may think that you're like faking bravery, you actually are being brave.
yeah, well, because in itself you're brave enough to do the thing you don't feel brave or confident enough to do.
Yeah.
I like the way you put that. That's really cool. That's good.
So I think being creatives and being self-taught. A lot of the photographers I know are self-taught. They there's a lot of that self-doubt around the value of their work, or whether or not they're good enough, and all this type of stuff. And that's where I'm like, I'm going to start a podcast, and I'm going to get you guys to come on board, and we're going to talk about you. And like, I'm going to pump your tires up, because you guys need to, believe in yourself and believe in the great work that you're doing. And it's so funny. Like, I've had a few people on that are just like starstruck with me.
Well, you are an amazing person to be starstruck by.
Oh, yeah, but I'm just being me.
And they're just being them too. But have there ever been any you're starstruck of too, and like at the same time? Or like it's a
because
mutual
I'm just like, everybody's
you're just chill. Yeah.
Everybody's just a normal person. Like,
yes.
If I went to Bali and I met my idol photographer, I'd be starstruck. I'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah. But you could be an idol photographer for some, maybe coming as or, being inspired by you. So
Yeah. Amazing. Have you done much travel?
I did travel to the Philippines, the motherlands, last year for the first time. Did I already say the first time twice in that sentence?
No.
I don't remember. Okay. Tracking myself. Went there for 2 weeks last year. That was a family trip, so I went with some of my cousins.
To Manila?
Hated Manila. Oh my goodness. Like that. We were staying first on a farm that one of my titas, tita is like auntie in Filipino, she owns, and there were some kids around in the village who came, and like we watched them like sing songs and stuff, and we like had an ice cream like operation, we're like giving them out to them.
Yeah.
It's really sweet. So we spent time on the farm for like I think the first week or so, and the next one we didn't spend much time in Manila. Manila was like the last day or two. Hectic though, the city, and the culture's very different there too. And because I'm not full Filipino, I'm half, so like they'd be like, oh, mestiza, but they'd think they'd just see me as like Caucasian, and then would try to get pictures of me, or just things that in Melbourne here, like everyone looks different, so it's not like a big deal, but like it was like a big deal. I'm just like a normal person I'm not like an influencer or anything, so I was like, wait, what?
It is a bit strange when you go to an Asian country and they want to take photos with you, because if you're someone.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I'm just like...
I mean, it's like honoring in a way, but it's like, oh, like I'm not that special, girl. But sorry, that trip, that was family related. But for Korea or anything, I haven't traveled, or don't really see myself wanting to. Well, I guess I'd like to travel for work, but I would like to preferably operate from a consistent, at least area.
Yeah.
On that note, though,
Just the world. That's a consistent area.
yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm saying this now, but
Just
like a big part
don't
of like
venture out into space. No.
within the confines of the Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just prefer not to think about travel or making plans for holidays until like I have the financial like means or freedom to have those thoughts.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's again like working full time. Like I was able to plan. I traveled to New York in 2022. Actually, traveling to New York, I did that specifically, like saved up and worked for that trip because I wanted to see if that's like to confirm if I wanted to model and pursue it so I can eventually model in New York one day. That was like the whole
Holy
thing.
shit.
To like see it. Yeah, that
We
was like
have
the reason
a
for
fucking announcement. She's going to New York to
No,
travel.
that's not.
Is that what's happening?
No,
Holy
no,
shit.
no,
You've
no,
been
that-
keeping this quiet,
No,
girlfriend.
no, no. I'm not saying no. I haven't got no. The reason I went there was to see New York and be like say to myself, "Is this what I want?" Because that's how I saw the big dream. I'm like, no, I haven't got any big thing in. Oh my goodness, what do you expect of me?
Alicia Keys, for you. Come on,
love
mate.
Alicia.
You just need to sign Erica up for your next video.
Oh, I love a good.
Can you believe?
Just-
Yeah, you got the whole Alicia Keys thing.
You reckon?
Hell yeah.
Really? Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I love the hair.
Thank you. I love Alicia Keys. All her I'm listening to that like as I'm half falling asleep at night. It's beautiful.
So you went to New York just to see whether or not, like, one, you liked New York and the idea of like doing modeling internationally.
Yeah. Well, there were some other reasons I went, and I had some friends there who I saw, but that was like one of the primary reasons.
So did you decide no,
Well,
that you wanted to stay more locally?
kind of. Because I saw like all the billboards and everything. Like I went with my best friend, Jade. We stayed in Times Square.
Shout out to Jade.
Shout out to Jade. Oh, Jade's been a G over this last year. She's been
Jade
helped me
has
so-
been a G.
Yeah,
I
all
think
my
it's-
changes of
I think it's Jade.
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 Jade. But yeah, we
Unless
went
it's
to
Gade.
Jade. Jade.
She's a G.
Jude.
Ooh, Jade.
She calls me Keena because like
Keena.
the end of Eric. I don't. Yeah, the end of Erica and Keena. I don't know, but she's a funny one.
That is funny. Sorry. So you were staying
appreciate Jade.
in Times Square.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I went with. We stayed in Times Square. And we're in like the heart of Manhattan and everything, like the whole, hustle bustle and the streets being packed and all that. So and we were staying right in the middle and looking out my window. I saw all of it, and I asked myself, is this what I want one day? And like, it was beautiful. It was so like stunning and it felt so unreal. But at the same time, I'm like, if this is what like reality would be, I feel like this would be too overwhelmed. I don't know. I'm like, it made me kind of see like, I guess I want to be big one day. Like that's the goal, but not so big. I just feel like the center of like everyone's just looking at like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I see maybe one day I'll like have bigger dreams again as a model. But I think sort of since then anyway, I've just tried to see this dream as something a bit more realistic. Like try to make it like start with like Melbourne and then
You know what
maybe
that to
national
me says? That to me says that you're very grounded and you're very like you just want to keep things real. And like
Yeah. Well,
you went over there to kind of like have a look and like
yeah.
type thing, but then you came back and you're like, nah, like
Also just
just keep things realistic.
I suppose. Well, also because like you
And
have
it's
to
good
ground
be
yourself.
grounded. Yeah. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Oh no, I know. I was just gonna say another thing though as well was I guess like, and also just seeing what it's like over there in Australia. I guess because the industry is smaller, I feel like it's just also less competitive. Again, like even if the models don't want to feel competitive, they're just naturally it would be
Well, you know, the whole of
like
Australia
there's more abundance everywhere.
is in New York, population wise. It's like that's massive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, but even just the living situation there, and the differences with taxes and speaking to the
hectic.
locals there, I was like, oh, like they were just, and I was, you know, I didn't explain my whole dreams and stuff, but I was just asking them what it's like living. Like and they found out where I live, and one of them had lived in Australia for like decades and then moved to America. And she's like, since moving here, like in terms of the living crisis and everything, like for what you want to do, it's safer to do in Australia too. Because it's a big, like moving to a new country and also the whole visas and all that. But yeah, finances too is another thing, and like being able to afford to pursue modeling.
Yeah.
It's already hard enough here, so doing it overseas is another trick. I have big like respect to anyone who has gone overseas to do
100%.
modeling.
100%. I have big respect for people who've like pursued doing stuff like overseas and then come back. You know, I think that whole thing is interesting because Australia is such a smaller like nation, and it's essentially a newer nation. Like we take a lot of things on board from like overseas, and we don't kind of like create anything here, you know, manufacture wise and stuff like that. But yeah, when someone creates something or creates a business overseas and then brings it back in and all of that, like I think that's really great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing, Erica. Well, thanks so much for coming to the podcast.
Of course.
How can people find you on social media?
Find me. I don't have a TikTok because I need to develop the big girly skills to like get good at that, because I do eventually want to do like, because TikTokers are cool and Reels are, I want to do really like, you know.
You know, you can just put Instagram reel videos on TikTok. That's all I do.
No, but even Reels, like, well, I want to do, I don't know, I've seen some models like try the whole behind the scenes thing lately, or they'll like, you know, put their own fits together, or just, you know, do more kind of like, I guess, character stuff. I'm like, that's cool, but I haven't got the time or skills yet to develop that. My Instagram is Erica Damond. Erica's with a C. And I think that's all I'm on at the moment.
I'll have it like pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah, for you.
Cheers.
And
employers, my Seek's also my name, my Indeed, and my Star Now is Erica Damond. You can.
She's on Star Now.
I'm on Star.
Boom.
The best of my paid modeling gigs in the last year have been Star Now. So
yeah,
Star Now's
that's
doing.
good.
I'm glad they're still, you know, doing their thing.
I still get notifications on my Star Now.
Because
I'm like, there was this thing for like $40,000.
I've been like a
that
baby
came
since
up.
like I was a baby when they were around still, or you know, I felt like at least. But yeah, they're still doing big moves.
Yeah. Amazing. Awesome. Thanks everyone for listening in.
Thank you.
Make sure
Thank you for having me, Andrew.
make sure you subscribe and hit that notification button, and catch you guys on the next one.
See
ya.
you.